Hello, bright and shiny beacons of light. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation. And tonight I'm running solo and it is now saying unable to connect to chat. Please try again later. So we may not be able to take your questions here tonight. I'm not sure how I can run everything. I have an idea. And we're going to try this after I talk with you tonight about how we can bend time. So I'm so glad to see so many people here tonight. What I'd like to do as we're talking about how to bend time is first take a few nice, slow, deep breaths. In through the nose, down to the belly, back up and out through the nose. In and out. In and out. In and out. Just with your breath. You are an alchemist and you have an ability to change time. So I want to talk about all things time tonight, and then I'll see what I can do to see if I can get the chat window going so that I can answer some of your questions. I want to talk about how strange of a time it is. On the one hand, it feels like minutes are dragging by. The hours are going so slowly. But suddenly we've gone from March to Memorial Day, if you're in the US, that is. So what in the world happened? Well, it has to do with stress. It has to do with the news. It has to do with the similarity between the days and how they are all blending together. So I was writing about this in automatic writing over the last few days, a process that you can use to really dive in, get to know your higher self, or get outside of your thinking mind into this greater mind. And so I was trying to understand from the universe the nature of time. What did I find? First off, we know that time is relative. In fact, despite what your watch or clock says, there is no time out there. There is only time in here. The clock moves fast or slow, depending on how we feel and perceive it to be. Let me say that again. There really is no time out there. It's why something that's amazing, incredible, time could fly by, or something like at the beginning of this coronavirus thing, that it feels like Groundhog Day, things can grind to a halt. Feel things are going fast? Mighty they, it's true. If you feel things are going fast, the clock is going really fast. And if you feel things are going slow, they're going really slow. Until they're not. Now that's an interesting piece because we're all alchemists when it comes to bending or warping time. We're going to talk more about this. But we need anchors to keep time from slipping away. Anchors and buffers, to be exact. And that's what I'm here to talk with you about tonight. What's an anchor? An anchor is something different, something novel. It's interesting that they call it novel COVID-19 or something like this, or novel coronavirus. Having novelty in your day is exceptionally important for you to be able to control time. You need something different or something that stands out. When you don't have an anchor, that's why time seems to drag. That's why it's Groundhog Day. The same thing over and over and over again. In fact, if you don't have an anchor, it will seem like the minutes or hours are dragging by, but the days seem to fly by. It seems to be a contradiction. Well, when we don't have any novelty, anything interesting or different in our days, minutes seem to take hours, hours seem to take days. But when we look back, because everything was the same, there's no sense of differentiation between one day and the next. It all blurs together. Why it can seem both at the same time to take forever for the week or month to go by, and at the same time it has flown by. because we don't have any punctuation marks. For instance, on the one hand, it seemed like coronavirus started just yesterday. On another level, it seems like that was eons ago. Why? Two key reasons. One, no punctuation marks. There were no differentiation points between maybe the beginning of March or end of February and today on Memorial Day. Secondly, the whole world has changed. If I want to play with a client's concept of time, I have them take a trip. Why? Geography changes your temporal point of view. Geography warps time. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're in New York City and you fly to Paris, it's only a 5 or 6, max 7-hour flight. But by the time you get to Paris, because you have changed geography, you have changed your internal topography in relationship to time. It seems like days or weeks have gone by since you last left New York City. I used to commute into New York from Colorado or commute into LA, and time was rather warped from me. Even if I got there the same day for a full work day, it seemed like days ago since I traveled because that geography was so different. Well, the entire world has changed since the start of the coronavirus. So that almost seems like pre-coronavirus seems like lifetimes ago because things have changed so much. So if we want to slow down time, we want anchors. We want signposts. We want to be able to link into where we at so that, like that trip from New York to Paris, time doesn't seem to fly by. It's why prisoners, and there's a lot of relationships, as strange as it seems, between people who have been in prison and where we are at now. Because prisoners relish signposts. Like the change of the seasons, a new flower coming into the bloom, the first time that it snows, the leaves coming off the trees, a particular holiday, Memorial Day. These sign points help them anchor in and mark time. An anchor is also a moment where you can take a pause, draw things in. That's in essence what we did at the beginning of the show. But you can do this for bigger things as well. So Jessica and I can remember it like it was yesterday. Why can I remember it like it was yesterday? Because I anchored it in. A few years ago, Jessica and I were in North Carolina, and we drove down to South Carolina, to the biggest lake in South Carolina, for the total solar eclipse. And we went into the part of the total eclipse, I think it's called totality. And we got out onto a lake with our kayaks. In fact, it was raining up to about a minute beforehand, but I just had this vision. I could see the clouds were going to part, and we're there in the center of the lake. The clouds parted. The world started to go silent. Tiny sliver of sun right on the edge of the moon, and the moon fully covers the sun. Corona shoots out in all directions. This crown, coronavirus, this corona shoots out light in all direction. And after a minute, while it was still so silent, even the birds, all the animals went silent. And I said, anchor it in, Pookie. Anchoring events in helps keep them from slipping away. And it changes your aspect of time. It keeps you, first off, remembering the moment, but it also helps keep you in the moment. In essence, anchors keep time from slipping away. Part of what we're talking about for some people today, time seems like it's moving way too fast. Those are the lucky ones of us who are working from home, who all of a sudden are working from 6 or 7 in the morning to 6, 7, or 8 o'clock at night. Time seems like it's moving fast. For the others of us, and so we need to find a way to slow time down, to anchor things in. For others, it's the same old, each minute, each hour, each day. It's Groundhog Day. which actually was a movie about learning to anchor in. We could talk more about that. But we get rather, I hate using this word because to me it's very dangerous when we put it out there to the universe, but I'll go for it in this case. Kind, gentle, easy, good. We get very bored because we have no anchor points. If we have anchor points, like hooking in our carabiner onto the side of a rock face or taking our axe and being able to put it into the ice for ice climbing, once we have an anchor point, we become the masters of time. I'm going to talk with you more about that in just a little bit. So we have anchors. We anchor into the moment. We anchor into the day. And then we have buffers. I love buffers. That was a buffer. A buffer is a pause between events. For without that pause, time can seem like it just flies by, even if you're doing nothing. You can lose days, you can lose weeks, you can even lose years. When one event is linked to the next event, is linked to the next event, is linked to the next event. So if you're working from home, it's so incredibly important to build buffers. I know with myself, particularly early on when we ran this show, it was one event to the next event to the next event to the next. And not just days flew by, it seemed like years flew by because I didn't have a pause. It was like the expression goes, if everything's important, nothing's important. If everything is go, 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 then you completely lose your sense of time. So let's talk about some basic buffers. Certainly, the easiest, and one you've probably heard the most lately, is meditation. Meditation is the ultimate buffer. It means you can get up in the morning and not suddenly go into high gear, go, 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 do, 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 but instead, breathe into the day. Control your time. That's why if people are busy, the expression goes, the old Zen koan, if you don't have time to meditate, meditate twice as long. If your day is going to be full on, get up early and meditate. Meditate twice as long. Why? You will literally slow down your internal clock. That's what we're going to be talking about here in a minute. You have slowed your clock down. And if time seems like it's going too slowly, dive into meditation so you can feel what's going on in time, link into it, and kind of like using a fishing rod, I'll teach you how to do that as well, start to reel in your time. Meditation, the ultimate buffer. 3 simple, deep breaths. Exactly what we did here at the beginning of the show. That's a huge buffer as well. In between coaching sessions, in between interviews, in between a lot of what I do, I like to throw myself outside. Why? Movement, walking can be a buffer. Changing your focal point from going from living in screen land with the screen only inches in front of you, having this near focus, to looking outside, having this expansive view, seeing the hummingbirds or whatever is there, even watching the occasional taxi go by as they're starting to get on the streets more and more. But having that focal range difference can be a buffer. And on that note, take your camera with you. Snap some pictures. Those pictures, in fact, I'm looking, don't have it in front of me. Right before we went on air here, there was a rainbow outside, and I caught a couple birds, lovebirds, boy bird, girl bird. And the boy bird was going in for a kiss. Girl bird chased him away, but there was a rainbow in the distance. Managed to catch it on camera. The cool thing about this is manage to catch it. I stopped time. I created a buffer. Time really is relative. It's all about how you feel. So if we're alchemists, I'm an alchemist. I like to play with energy. I like to play with time. People ask me how I get so much done for the show, with classes, with coaching, with even athletic endeavors that I don't usually go into, but pretty strong athletes still. It's because I know how to work time rather than time working me. Yes, that's right. You can work time rather than having time work for you. What does that mean? It means that if you are pushing, going, striving, and rushing, the clock is moving faster. This is Henry the tortoise. I keep Henry on hand all the time to remind me there's nothing I can't do twice as well in double the time. I sometimes put that even better. There's nothing I can't do in twice the time. That'll be 10 times better as if I did it in half the time. What do I mean? If I internalize the tortoise and slow my clock down inside, I literally create more time to get things done. Have an expression, I think it's on the cover of my second book, the go slow to go fast philosophy. If you're a professional swimmer, if you're an Olympic swimmer, you would never in your life try to swim fast. You know better than it. Why? Because when you try to swim fast, you push against the water and you go slower. If instead you try to go smooth, in other words, you slow down your internal clock, you get to the end of the wall, you look at your watch thinking you swam a slow time, and you've set a personal record. You just bent time. So if you want to go fast and get more done, you have to link on to that hurried sensation inside of you and find a way, like taking that fishing rod, to let out some of the line. Build slack in the line. Slow down internally. We get to go from rush, go, to slow internally. This is the opposite of if you're if you're a go-getter, if you're I need to get things done. This is going to jam gears with your mind. But do me a favor and give it a try. The next time you're in a hurry to get somewhere, get off of the internal throttle. You can still focus on getting there. You can still keep your foot on the gas pedal, although you might be more awake and aware so that you don't miss the turn by rushing too much. But focus on what can I do to change my internal tempo or internal relationship with time. I have an app on my watch here. I think it's too dim. Not sure you're going to be able to see it. It has a tortoise on there that when I start to go fast, switches to a hare as my heartbeat comes up. My job is to stay in the tortoise zone, unless I'm running a hill, in which case, be the hare. But internally, can I slow down? I set a PR earlier this week, Tuesday, Tuesday, for a local mountain here, getting up, I don't know, to 8,500 feet in my fastest time ever. More important thing was, I said, let's go out and not rush things. Let's gently attack, if you can say. I don't really use the word attack, but gently go after this time record. What can I do to slow down my internal time? Guess what happens? I breathe slower. My cortisol levels go down. My heart rate goes down. My oxygen consumption goes down. My nervous system goes down. Time seems slower. And at the same time, I set a record. I changed my internal tempo. We can do the same thing in reverse. So we can go from being the internal rabbit or the internal hummingbird to an internal tortoise, or we can flip it to help time move along. Right now, you might feel like a Groundhog Day going over and over again. Although, if you actually rewatch the movie Groundhog Day, and I encourage you to do so, movie is awesome. What you'll find is he found a way to do extra special things. Once he stopped putting the toaster into the tub, Bill Murray found a way to do highly creative activity, ice sculptures, learning instruments, learning languages. He learned how to do more creative things with his time, and he learned how to help others, learn about others, be there to serve. What are these activities he's doing? What he was doing is finding activities that enriched him. Yes, there was a novel aspect to it, as we saw earlier, but he was also doing the activities where you lose track of time. If time is going too slowly, grab a book that you've always wanted to read. Grab an easel or a sketch pad and start drawing that you've always wanted to do. Go learn that language that you always wanted it to. Find those activities where you lose your sense of time. And literally, time will move faster, but it won't feel like it's going by in a blur because you're anchoring in special activities. So do something creative. Or, as we discussed earlier, take yourself outside. If you want to slow down, remember moments when you weren't hurrying. If you want to go faster, remember what brings you greatest joy. And be sure to anchor in the where am I nows. What does that mean? Well, I'm talking to you here, and I'm pretty relaxed on camera, but there is still a little bit of an internal sense of wow, hundreds or thousands of eyes on me. Thousands and thousands of people will watch this over time. And then my nervous system might start to get up and start to go faster and start to go faster. But if I can pause internally and say, where am I? It's a beautiful sunset. I've got a hummingbird dancing right in front of me. I'm getting to speak to you. I am here, anchoring in the where am I now? This perfect present moment as I'm getting to speak with you. And that brings time to a halt. Why? I just had an internal Kodak moment. I just froze time. I changed my internal tempo or my internal relationship to time in a moment. So anchor in any and every moment by saying, where am I now? I'm driving down the road. Where am I now? I'm about to take this exit. Where am I now? I'm with my daughter. I'm with my son. I'm with my partner. I'm with my cat or dog. I'm with myself. And when I say I'm with myself, this aspect of being in friendship, of being in partnership, of being in relationship is what you get to do with time. We want to befriend time. Put time in the front seat. Get time out of the back seat where you're ignoring time, where you're not paying attention to time, or in the reverse, you're hyper attention to time, but you're not making a relationship with it. Instead, make friends with time, anchor in time, buffer time, learn how to play with the energy of time. The more intimate you become with time, the more you're able to get things done, the more relaxed, the less worried. And if it feels like time isn't going by quickly enough, the more you will use this time to do something incredibly special for yourself. How many times in life have we said, I would do X, Y, or Z if only I had the time? Well, now you do. The more that you change your internal relationship with time and control your tempo with time, the more fun you will have and the more time you will have for both the doings and non-doings. So with that said, I want to take some time to answer your question. So I'm going to see, I probably have to change a couple screens here. I bet I can figure it out. I know that if Jessica were by my side right now and she's resting right now, she would say we have our next automatic writing course coming up in 10 days time, a week from Thursday, where you can learn how to dive into source, how to dive into consciousness, how to have these same deep conversations with the universe. It's like channeling. It's like being a medium. It's putting pen to paper and saying, universe, what do I need to know? Or in this case, yesterday, I said, universe, I want to understand more about the nature of time. And universe is screaming at me, time's not external, time is internal. You get to change your internal tempo with time. You get to change your internal relationship with time. And on it went, from the internal rabbit, the internal tortoise. And I'm going, whoa, I'm just trying to keep up with my pen. As it's all spilling out on the page, you can get that too. You can find out more about that at automaticwriting.com. automaticwriting.com. That's the place for that. So let me see now if I can get everybody's questions up here. And I think what I have to do, and I'm going to talk myself through this out loud since I'm running solo here, is I need to find a share button here. And I think I might have to go to the YouTube channel. So let's see if I go to my YouTube channel. Bear with me, everybody. So this is about changing your relationship with time. And I am going to breathe into this experience. Ooh, I saw the button right there. Let's go back to it. Go right here to YouTube Studio. And if I don't answer your question, what I'd like you to do is put your question back up, because I may not be able to scroll through the whole thing to see it. So let's see what this does right here. And I'll probably have to shut off the sound. All right. And so now I have, excellent, I can see questions. So let's go back and I'm going to scroll and hello, everybody. Lots of feel betters for Jessica. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody's giving hugs and love for Jessica. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, I'm saying thank you for her. She is either napping or is upstairs hearing me talking right now. And so make sure to put your questions in, because we're going to keep this either on the short side if there aren't very many questions. And if there are questions, I'm just going to go for at least another half an hour, time permitting, haha, until we get through questions. Pause or pause. I like it. Swimming forces internal. Eckhart Tolle now talks about present moment. Yes, it seems to be anchor for your thoughts would be much appreciated. So Eckhart Tolle, and he talks about now present moment is our only reality. Yet this seems to be anchor free. Philip, actually, I would go with the reverse. I would say that Eckhart Tolle and Be Here Now is anchoring in each and every moment. No moment is slipping by, because he is here now, here now, here now. His relationship isn't getting lost in the worries about the past, which has time slipping away, in his worries the future, which has you moving at hyperspeed toward it. Instead, he is anchoring in this perfect present moment. When I first heard Eckhart Tolle, I don't even know how long ago, 15 years ago, maybe more than that, I couldn't, it might have been even 20 years ago, I couldn't stand Eckhart Tolle. Why? Because my relationship with time was so messed up that I had to go, drive, do. And hearing Eckhart speak drove me completely insane. It wasn't until I learned how to change my tempo with time, learn how to get in coherence. And that's something on Tuesday night show with Howard Martin on heart coherence. We're talking global heart coherence. When I learned how to get in coherence or in accord with that sweet spot of time, which is what Eckhart's doing, everything changed. It went from him being too slow and hurry up, let's get on with it, let me hear something, to oh wait, if I peel away Eckhart Tolle's words, there's something deeper, more profound, and as sometimes said, it's not usually my language, but yummy or delicious beneath the words. You see, Philip, we're all alchemists. I love to say that I'm an alchemist. What does that mean? I am playing with energy. Well, truth be told, Philip, so are you, because we all are energy. So there's no way we couldn't be playing with energy. But when we become conscious of that, we start to recognize the tempos, the frequencies, the chords, the resonance, the discordance, the lack of resonance. And we start to say, hey, wait, what's this internal sensation I'm feeling? Does this feel good? Does this feel out of accord? Is it in ease or dis-ease? And then we really get to play with this. Feel like things are going too far ahead? Throw out the fishing rod, reel yourself forward. Feel like things are pulling too far away from you? Maybe we need to do the reverse. Play with the energy and see how it all feels. So let's see what the next question is here. And a beautiful, beautiful question, Philip. Not sure where Travis is going with trauma. So Travis, feel free to put that back down if you want to. You must breathe in the now. You don't breathe in the past nor the future. You can only breathe in the now. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Yes, timing is everything in comedy, or as Steve Martin used to say, it's all about timing. Timing, exactly. All right, so I am not seeing more questions here. So let's see if anybody else has questions they want to share. And I'm going to see what Carl is saying here. It is why our dream state loses its time reference. Same things for NDE, so not sure where we're going with that, but I would completely agree. I guess the question to ask yourself, and please put your questions down here, because I will I will dive into a meditation and we'll end things sooner if there are no questions. But we get to ask ourselves almost in each and every moment, am I present with time? So I like to do the mindfulness exercise. In fact, we came up with mindful running years ago. You can go to mindfulrunning.org. It's a program that Jessica and I put together about being more grounded, more rooted in our breath, which is more rooted in time. Because if you anchor into each and every breath, which is admittedly in the beginning a little bit challenging to do, but then time doesn't get away from you. And so I've joked a lot with people about mindful driving, holding on to the steering wheel and saying, am I present? Yes, I'm present. Am I present? Yes, I'm present. What you do when you feel your hands in the steering wheel, or right now, if you're sitting down, wiggle your butt on the chair. Stomp your feet on the chair or the floor. Feel it. What are you doing? You're anchoring in the moment, just like I said, and you are feeling the present moment. It didn't slip away from you. So, okay, Julie, let me see if I can find this question. Let's see. Is time only a human construct constructed by our egos? Do we need to loaded question, Julie. So I'm going to give you my take on this, which may be very different than what some other teachers do. I don't actually believe in transcending the ego. I believe ego is our best friend. I believe ego you get to put in the front seat. Well, if ego's is going nuts, you put ego in the back seat, like a Thelma and Louise Cadillac, and you say, I'll be with you in a few minutes. And then when you're ready, bring ego up to the front and say, ego, what do you have to share? I would like to hear from you. I want to love you up with everything you've got. I am going to be the most kind and compassionate listener until I feel a little bit drained. And then I'm going to give you a pause. But we want to integrate ego. So is time a construct by the ego? I'm going to say no to that. And maybe I'm splitting hairs on this one. But I think time is a construct of this current reality to teach us how to work in the physical plane. Because if we had no sense of time at all, we might be hanging out on the railroad tracks going, I'm going to transcend time, when there's a train due in the station in 1 minute and we are going to be... Sorry, kitties. Oh, sorry, love bug. Whammo, flattened. So time is here to serve us, not for us to transcend time, but to work with time, to sculpt time, to bend time, to play with time, but not to be a slave to time. So when I was on Maui, for the first few years, I wore no watch. Jessica had a watch that was given to her by, I'm going to put watch in quotes, by a dear, dear friend, two-time Grammy Award-winning musician, Robert Mirabal, on the Taos Pueblo in Taos, New Mexico. And it was a band with a hoop with nothing in the center. And he jokingly called it Indian time. The trick with no sense of time is it was hard to chop wood and carry water. And our business tanked, not because of the gift of the watch, but because I was going, I'm above time, I'm beyond time, I'm not going to let time push me around. And so I went on to island time. And island time meant for me, I got nothing done. So it is a balance. Not a banishing, not a transcending, but a working with, a befriending and balancing time. How do I want time to move today? If I set intention each morning, oh, goody. I intend for it to be a relaxing day. I intend for it to be a peaceful day. I also intend to make some major progress on some really, really cool projects. Then chances are, even though my ego will kick up as part of this journey, I will make some really cool progress on my projects. And I will not freak out the kitty cats like I just did there. Hint, Jessica's a kitty cat too. She is so sensitive to energy. She can tell if I'm revving off of my internal clock and out of coherence with the natural clock of the universe. I thought you said there isn't time. It's an inside job. This is true. But when we're incarnate, the earth is also spinning and has a clock of her own. That's her heart beating. We get in coherence with her heart. Oh, goody. Now you're talking about global coherence to a whole different level. The birds are in coherence. Yes, the bees are in coherence. All animals are in coherence. We're the only animal that fortunately, unfortunately, knows what to do with electricity. Could be a huge, huge positive, but instead we stay up late, we get out of coherence, and then we feel flipped upside down and backwards because we realize there might be more than one clock. There's our internal clock, and then there's the internal clock of Mama Earth. And when we get out of coherence with Earth, we feel spun. So let's see. Let me go to a few more questions here. From Carl Godlove. Michael, I am suggesting that being present in our physical space and aware of our physical state anchors us in time. Yes, Carl, absolutely. That's what, when we talk about mindful running, being with your breath, mindful driving, holding onto the steering wheel, mindful sitting, and grounding into our chair, we are rooting into our physical space when we feel what's going on in our bodies. Am I spinning? Am I relaxed? Is my belly fluttering? Am I speaking from up here? When we do that, we root into our internal environment. And that completely changes our relationship with time. It's why you'll find a lot of spiritual people who are up here are talking about, let's anchor into 5D and let's play the game up here and we're just going to float around and give me my crystals. Not that there's anything wrong with any of this. I have my crystals. I have my stones. But what we want to do is play a bigger game. By as above, so below. Root on both levels. Feel the energy, draw it into your body. Root down into the earth. Root down in. Incarnate. We are spiritual beings having a physical existence. Ride it for all it's worth. Up on the screen in front of me is an advertisement for a car with some bikes, bikes on the roof. Drive the car till the wheels come off. Don't be in a rush or a hurry to be back playing in that spiritual plane. First off, you always are in the spiritual plane. But the bigger game this lifetime is being a bridge between both worlds, using the meat suit for all that it got by rooting down into your body. See if we have a few more questions here. Yes, Julie, I scared the love bug, but she was in her tunnel and jumped, and I think she actually likes that. Okay. See if we have any more questions here. And if you have more questions, feel free to put them out there now. One of the great lines that we can say as we're going along through the day, am I present? The more that you ask yourself, am I present? The more that you are the master of time rather than time being the master of you. You can also set an instant intention. I have all the time in the world. Things are moving too fast. I don't know how I'm going to get this done. I have all the time in the world. Or if you don't believe that, time is moving slowly. Or simply, time works for me. I don't work for time. Time works for me. Time works for me. Time works for me. The more that we can remember that time is simply an internal perspective, an energy, a frequency, if you will, that we can tune the dial, the more we aren't worked over by time, but instead we become the masters of time. You can hear the Michael J. Fox, well, it's not his song. I can't remember the name of the group. Back to the Future, going back in time. What they're really talking about is changing our relationship with time. Charity asks, how do we stay grounded when around people? Now, Charity, I've done a lot of work on social anxiety issues. So if that's what we're talking about, that's kind of taking things to a whole different level. With that said, we get to be present. And I don't mean the Eckhart Tolle be here now. I mean, what's my emotional state? What is my physical state as directed by emotional state? And where is my awareness? Oftentimes around others, particularly if there's any level of social anxiety going on, we get into a feedback loop, Charity, which is to say, Charity watches the other person watching her, and Charity wonders how's the other person perceiving me? And then Charity starts to change her reaction based on how she's concerned that the other person is perceiving her. And then her anxiety levels start to go up based on how she sees the other people starting to perceive her. And then she loses her ability to think clearly, to stay grounded. And all of a sudden, she's spinning out of control in Huey Lewis and the News. Thank you. In an internal feedback loop where if we can stay rooted in here, like you said, grounded. Okay, the other person is looking at me. I'm going back to my breath. The other person is looking at me. I'm going to feel my feet on the floor. The other person is looking at me. I'm going to feel my hands on the side. These are practices. I do a lot of sports psychology work with people. These are practices that you can do out of the game. In meditation, you can start practicing on feeling your internal and external environment. What's my energy doing? What's my breath doing? Can I feel my pulse in my fingertips? Can I feel a buzzing in my fingers? In fact, you feel that? Feel that tingling between your fingertips. In fact, if you push your hands almost together, you can feel like a little bit of a repelling energy. This is anchoring into your body. Then, of course, there's feeling the chair, there's feeling the desk, there's feeling your external environment. The more that you practice with that, the more that you can bring that to a social environment. But you can also then, in meditation, start to play out social environments. I like to take things, and this, I can't take credit. This is a sports psychology technique that's been around for a long time. I like to take things to the edge of fear and bring them back. So if you lose yourself in a big group environment, why don't you see yourself walking to that group environment, stopping, taking some deep breaths, getting yourself grounded, and then walking back away from that environment. Why? Why didn't you go into it in your mind's eye? Of course, it was perfectly safe. Let's actually take it, though, to where the nervous system says, oh, wait, that's completely safe. I have nothing to worry about. And take it away from that, because that actually anchors in a positive experience. The next time, take it just a little bit further. And then the next time, take it a little bit further and a little further still and a little further still. Never going to the point of discomfort. Always take it just a step before that, so that you're anchoring in a positive experience. So for instance, if I finish this interview, if I finish this YouTube live right now and I say it's done, I could walk away and go, oh, wow, that was amazing. I had a lot of fun here tonight, anchoring it in. It felt great. It felt awesome. If I went and said, oh, I'm now going to talk about something really scary and what's going to happen, and I pushed it to the other side of comfort, not as an experiment of let's see where we can go, but to where I really scared myself. Then instead of next time going, woohoo, let's do a YouTube live. Instead, I'm going, oh my God, that was a terrible experience. I do not want that again. Here's the funny thing. In this society, we're told to go way past the line. I remember walking, oh, it was awful. It was awful. I was coming back from the most amazing hike, barefoot hike. I was a crazy guy, in the Grand Canyon, decade or so ago, and there was a mom dragging her daughter along in the Grand Canyon, wouldn't let her rest, and was just torturing the hell out of this girl. That girl may never, ever, ever want to hike again. She was pushed way past the comfort zone. That wasn't a, what is it? Pain is weakness leaving the body, as the Marines say. This was bad news bears. Instead, if she took her just a little bit down that canyon and said, and to where her daughter's going, oh, wow. And maybe, mommy, can we go just a little bit further? And then come back out. She had anchored in, that mother would have anchored in the goodness to have perhaps a lifelong hiking companion with her, rather than dragging her to the other side of comfort. So here, as you're going for social anxiety, whatever that piece is, play in the sweet zone and only go right just before the edge of discomfort, and then bring it back. So let me see if we have some more questions here. And I'm not seeing any more questions. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go to the bottom of the hour approximately. If there are no questions, we are going to wrap things up with just a little meditation. Put punctuation marks in your day. So I'm looking out the window right now. Heavy cloud cover. I have 1, 2, 3, now 1. They move fast. Hummingbirds flitting around outside of me. And what I am known to do is, well, if you knew my full morning routine, write down my dreams, meditate, do some automatic writing, and throw myself outside at sunrise with birdseed in my hand. I'll have squirrels, chipmunks, and golden mantle squirrels in my lap. Really, really cool. And watch as the sun comes up over the horizon. And I am there when the sun comes up. And I do my best to be there when the sun goes down. Now, I like to gaze, playing with energy, not suggesting it for anybody. Can't say what the medical community says about that, but for me, it works. But with that said, being outside, and this is something that I taught when I was coaching students and adults with learning disabilities, and particularly attention deficit disorder, or anybody along the spectrum, a good 20 plus years ago. I always wanted them out walking either sunrise or sunset, if not both, because doing so synced them with the natural cycle of the earth, the circadian rhythm. It got them in coherence with the earth. It slowed down their internal clock, and it helped them to keep track of each and every day rather than time slipping by. And so these are natural punctuation marks you can build into each and every day. I can tell you exactly where I was, exactly what I was doing this morning, exactly how I felt as the sun came up. And now I'm with you at sunset. Well, it's about 10 or 11 minutes before sunset. Knowing when that sunset is, or knowing when that sunrise is, or knowing where it is on the horizon. Where does it pop up over the hills? Where does it pop up in my neighborhood? Where does it pop up over the buildings? Links you in to something so much greater than yourself. It helps keep everything from spinning. And I know at least one more question came in here. So let us see. No, I don't see it here. Can you feel that? Breathe in. And out. Just feel that sweetness. In. And out. That sweetness is available to you at any moment. Just those breaths alone can radically transform your relationship with time. So, we're going to dive into a meditation here. We've kind of made it a breath sandwich. Come join us Tuesday for an amazing, amazing YouTube premiere. Howard Martin of Heart Math is going to be there, where we are going to talk about the science of heart coherence, the science of global coherence, and how your heartbeat literally shapes and affects the heartbeats of everyone else around you. I know that sounds crazy, but I am, in essence, sort of like what they call it a biathlete, someone who skis and then shoots, getting past the whole shooting aspect of it. I love the hyper focus, but they're said to shoot in between their heartbeats so that the heartbeat itself doesn't throw off the shot. When I'm speaking with you, I am doing that as well. Not quite to that extent, but I am watching my internal coherence, my breath, my heartbeat, my energy, how I speak, the cadence, and how that all blends together. And that's the experience that you're feeling. You quite literally have the power to affect everyone around you. And what we're going to talk about Tuesday is how they have these devices set up all around the earth that can measure the frequency, the electromagnetic frequency of the earth quite literally changes based on how your heartbeat, my heartbeat, and everybody's heartbeat pumps into the system. You quite literally matter. You quite literally can be the largest tuning fork in the world, certainly in the room, and make a massive difference on everybody else, because you are not just a receiver, but you are a transmitter as well. So that's going to be Tuesday's YouTube premiere, which will be at 8:30 Eastern Time PM at 5:30 Pacific Time, 6:30 here if you're Mountain, 7:30 Central. And I can't wait to see you there with Howard Martin of Heart Coherence, talking about the science behind heart coherence. So with that said, let's dive into a meditation. Again, last thing is we have an automatic writing course in a week and a half, automaticwriting.com. If you want to learn how to channel, how to plug in, I basically call it, and it's not fair to Neil Donald Walsh, I like to call it like learning your own Neil Donald Walsh conversations with God process. Had Neil on the show, he goes, no, mine is an actual voice. And so yes, it is different. But imagine being able to write down the words of God. That's what you learn how to do. So that's automaticwriting.com. Thank you, everybody, for your well wishes for Jessica. Thank you, Q, as always, for holding space. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, everyone. And so let us dive into a very brief meditation here. In fact, I think we're going to do something to play with time. So let's get comfortable in our seat and simply breathe in through the nose, down to the belly, and out through the nose. Breathe in and out. In and out. As you continue to breathe in and out, nice and gentle, I want you to feel butt against the chair, feet against the floor, and even ask yourself, where are my hands at this moment? And feel exactly where they're at. Continue to breathe in, feeling the air going down to the lungs. And as it goes out, feel it tickle the tip of your nose. In through the nose, feeling it tickling the airway, going on down. And out. Feel it on the tip of your nose. Breathe in, feel the air going down, feel the belly start to expand, and out. Feel it tickling the tip of the nose, feel your belly contracting. In, get a good Santa breath going. Feel that breath expanding your lungs, your belly, and out. In and out. As you continue to breathe in and out, see if you can latch on to the life force with each breath. You might feel it as a tingling sensation, as a buzzing sensation. You might feel a little snap, crackle, pop on your fingertips. But see if you can latch on to that internal sense of energy with each breath. You might feel your hairs, like your hairs on your arms, start to come up on end. You might feel a buzzing taking over from your fingertips, going up your arms, tingling on the back of your neck, on the top of your head. Just see if you can tap in to that buzziness that is inside, outside, and expands all around you with each breath. As you start to feel this energy, say to yourself these simple words. I'm slowing down. I'm slowing down. I'm slowing down. You can feel yourself slowing down. You can feel yourself growing more relaxed. And you can feel, as you still feel that buzzing and tingling, the energy hasn't dissipated, but your ability to transform, sculpt, bend, mold, and transmute time is. I'm slowing down. I'm slowing down. I'm slowing down. By doing this, you are literally changing your relationship with time, changing what you can do. Feel your fingertips still buzzing, and changing how you play with energy. You can call this Alchemist Training 101. I'm going to have a whole class on it coming up, but you just did day one. You are learning how to anchor in, play with energy, and literally warp and transmute time. So I'd like you to stay in this state as long as you would like. But the next time you find yourself spinning, ungrounded, dizzy, or simply recognize that you've gone from the tortoise to the hare. Feel where you are in your body. Feel where you are on the earth or on your chair. Link into that buzziness, to that energy, to that tingling, and say these three simple words. I'm slowing down. You keep breathing in and out through the nose. I'm slowing down. I'm slowing down. You can practice this too anytime you want. You can come back to this video. The more that you practice this, the more that you'll be able to anchor it in, even during serious meetings, conversations, heated arguments. All you need to do in the middle of the heated argument is breathe in through the nose, down to the belly, and out, and say to yourself, not out loud, there's a time and a place, I'm slowing down. So I love you guys so, so much. I look forward to seeing you for the YouTube premiere on Tuesday. Come join us for our next YouTube Live next Sunday. If you like this, give us a big thumbs up, subscribe, click on the bell icon. That way you're notified when there's the next YouTube Live. You're notified for the next premiere. Come join us for our upcoming classes. You can find out all about them at inspirenationuniversity.com. And here, it's down, inspirenationuniversity.com. And here's automaticwriting.com. So I will send Jessica all of your well wishes. So glad you could join us here tonight. Big, 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 big hugs. Come just join us Tuesday and let us together be the biggest tuning fork in the room and help to take us out of a time of freak, of panic, of worry, of anxiety, and help slow this whole place down. There's nothing that can't be done at half the speed that won't turn out twice as good. This from an Olympic Training Center trained athlete who was trying to go as fast as I could. And I didn't realize the true secret to going fast was slowing down. Love you guys so, so much. I'll see you next time. Keep on shining bright. Love you guys. Woohoo!